In terms of what is happening with some of the major players in the EM space, I want to just get a reality check with Turkey. Jump into the Bloomberg with me. Key code GSpace, hashtag BTV Space 1031. And the irony here of this chart is that Turks have been actually adding to their dollar positions, and you've got the vice and the reverse happening with foreigners. And ultimately then, again, a story of analysts expecting a slightly stronger lira. We did see quite a bit of a recovery. Where does this story go from here, the Turkey story? How are you feeling about it?
Generally speaking, of course, Turkey is making, again, headlines, but that's not a new story. Turkey has making political headlines for a number of years now, so investors are already accepting this kind of political risks, if you want. When it comes to the currency, obviously it was overshoot, but we have seen actually support coming from domestic investors, which is more likely to be the case. Now, looking at it a bit more broadly, I don't really expect major macroeconomic impacts from this renewed diplomatic crisis with the US. Mainly because the direct economic impact from the consequences of these US travelers' visa bans are actually going to be very limited. US tourists amounts to only about 1.2%, if I'm not mistaken, of the entire tourist inflows into Turkey. And as we head to the winter season, that would not really have of a direct impact. It's more the sentiment question that is affecting.
Apostolos, some of the traders I've been speaking to, they are putting out whispers that we should be focusing on the risk of contagion. This is not so much just a Turkey story. These big shifts in asset class prices could have much wider effects that go across the EM space. Can you buy into that kind of narrative?
Not really. What we've seen so far, we had a lot of idiosyncratic and geopolitical crises across the emerging markets, particularly more on the CEMEA and Africa and Latin America regions. And even now with the Korean issue again, this is coming up. What is usually happening in this case and what we have seen is that it's mainly the individual markets and the risk of contagions to other markets from this crisis. Like in Turkey, for example, the same happened back in the summer of 2016 during the attempted coup. It not really triggered any kind of contagion. The same thing with Russia or even with a crisis in Brazil. So I don't really buy into this argument.